Hello, today I'm going to talk about the topic of the matrix and breaking out of the matrix. Now, I've done a vlog before talking about the etymology of the word matrix and how it originally meant the mother in the womb, and it had more of an expansive connotation to it, whereas of late it has more of a restricting connotation to it when you speak with many, not all people, where it's referring to things like imposing a world upon another person's world, and it's more of an inverted matrix. So yes, I've already discussed all of that. This one we're going to take it down a slightly different route, still in relation to the matrix, obviously. So when people share about this topic of breaking out of the matrix, there's often an overemphasis on the physical world, and that does play a very important part in our life. I totally understand that. However, the way in which life works here in this moment, excuse me, I'm just going to get some water. Well, a weak tea, should I say, is the outer world, in the sense of time, is a much slower reflection of the own inner world. So therefore, I would consider ensuring that one is placing just as much emphasis, if not more, on their own internal world, while also engaging with how they want to create their own external world. You know, there are programs, matrices, if you want to call them that, that are mental and emotional, you know, not just physical. And they are potentially what I would consider more important because of what I just shared about the whole slow reflection of the external world being what's going on in the internal world. And it's kind of interesting that I'm feeling like I have to explain myself here, but just because one person is in one internal state does not necessarily mean that the whole collective is in that state. However, the more and more individuals, if you want to call them that move into a particular way of being, that creates a much larger ripple effect in the collective, because we are individual in some sense, but we are also just one big entity, often known as human. And everything that we do, in a way, has an effect on all the other fellow humans, plus obviously everything else that's in our external environment. So the plants, the soil, the animals, the elements, all of that. You know, this is not an exhaustive list. That's just to give you a concept, an idea of what I'm touching on here. And so doing your inner work on your internal, you know, mind and emotional programs will excel the process of breaking or changing your own physical world more, what I would consider, more effectively and gracefully. I'm not saying you need to disregard the physical work that you're doing, the action that you are doing. However, with the encompassment of the internal work, it creates actually more of an integration, which creates more of a wisdom, and little do some may realize, it actually is more grounded when both of them are working alongside each other. If it's just one and not the other, it is not as grounded. So, you know, examples of this is obviously freeing yourself from things like victim mentality, you know, taking responsibility of as much as what you can in your life, you know, observing your thoughts as trains passing through at a train station, and allowing the emotions to flow through you as they need to. And the reason I say that is when you attempt to try and control thoughts and emotions, again, there's a difference between control and alchemy, control and transforming. So when I'm talking about control here, when you attempt to control the thoughts and emotions by some kind of positive think your way out of it, or disregard or completely ignore because I don't like X, Y, and Z that this is presenting to me, you are then playing in the game of actually identifying yourself as those things, instead of the other way in which you can engage with is, oh, these are just things that I'm experiencing. It's not actually who I am at my essence. It's just part of the human experience I'm having in this moment. And when you start to play around in that realm, in that kind of game, it can't control you, in a sense. So yes, that's just something I really felt like was important to share there. So yes, embodying your purpose, engaging in communities that inspire you, being authentic, all these kinds of things, they will assist you when moving through the physical matrix, if you want to call it that, to help create the world in which you are bringing forth. And it's a nice little reminder, like, you are the world, but you're not all of it. You're not of all of it, should I say. In one sense, some would say yes. In another sense, someone would say no. So it's going back to what I was saying, with the thoughts passing through like a train, emotions just flowing to you like water. They are not who you are at essence. Just like when you identify things in your realm, you're like, that's not exactly who I am, but that is something that I am experiencing. It's a whole other different thought and feeling and beingness of a human when you start to engage with the world like that. And it's not coming from a place of disassociation or bypassing. It's just coming from a place of truthfully identifying, or I don't really like using the word identifying, but maybe that's just the way I needed to describe that then. It's coming from a place of just the recognition of who you are and what you're not actually at your essence. Anyway, so of course you're about to find various people online sharing the details about how they work outside of the matrix or somewhat outside of the matrix, and you can find all of that all over the internet. It's not the purpose of me sharing this here in this vlog. And again, I want to remind you that one's concept of outside the matrix is going to look different than someone else's concept of outside the matrix. Because believe it or not, we're not here to be living exactly in the same way. We have our own variations of life and gifts that we're here to share. And so with that variety, then comes the next evolution of, okay, so how do we then all work together with these slight supposed variations of the human? Yeah, and that's the fun part. That's the next evolutionary process. We have lived in tribal living before, and we have lived very much in community and created our own little matrices and things like that. And then we sort of moved out of that in some sense. And then there's kind of like this pull back into it, but we're wanting to do it in a different way. It's like each time the human comes into a phase, doesn't want to do it the exact same way. It's another opportunity to then see, how do we want to engage back in this environment, but in another way, with another color. Instead of maybe painting it orange, we're going to paint it yellow this time. Just to give you a very basic metaphorical example then. So yes, that is me sharing this vlog about breaking out of the matrix. Just a reminder to make sure that we keep doing our internal work so that we are not getting too caught up in the own internal matrices, especially with mind and emotional programs. Social media has a lot to play in that, so does technology. I'm not perfect. I'm aware of when I'm really like, whoa, being affected by certain things I'm engaging with, especially in that realm of late. It's been really interesting observing myself and how that is affecting, or how I'm also I say not letting affect, but yeah, how much I can let that affect me, and then how much I can maintain in my own center and be observing how it's trying to affect me. Yeah. Anyway, so you're welcome to leave any comments, questions, thoughts, feelings in the comments section down below. And you can reach out to me on various social media platforms. They are in the description box down below if you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you in the next vlog.